Alcatraz stands in the middle of San Francisco Bay, exposed to wind, fog, and open water. It is presented for decades as silent, controlled, and inevitable. Cells close. Doors lock. Men disappear into routine. That image is incomplete. The prison is quiet because it is armed. The silence exists because force is always present and always visible. Every tower, every catwalk, and every perimeter line is built for lethal response, not deterrence alone. If stories like this matter to you, consider subscribing, because what happens next reveals how this system truly works. From its reopening as a federal penitentiary in 1934, Alcatraz operates under a simple premise. Escape is not negotiated. It is stopped. Guards are issued rifles, shotguns, pistols, and gas grenades. Orders are explicit. Any inmate attempting to cross the perimeter can be shot without warning. The towers are not ceremonial. They are firing positions with overlapping fields of view. Each one is positioned to cover blind spots, yard approaches, and water exits. Guards trained to aim downrange across fixed sight lines. There is no confusion about authority or consequence. The prison's physical layout reinforces that doctrine. Cellhouse blocks sit at the island's center. The recreation yard slopes downward toward the water. Industrial buildings and service corridors create choke points. From the towers, guards see movement before inmates reach open ground. The bay surrounds everything. The distance to shore varies, but currents are strong, temperatures are low, and visibility changes without notice. These natural barriers matter, but they are secondary. The primary defense is armed response. The first serious test of that system comes early. In December 1937, 2 inmates leave their work assignment near the incinerator. They move quickly toward the shoreline. Guards spot them from the tower. Warning shouts follow. When the men do not stop, gunfire begins. Shots echo across the water. The inmates enter the bay. Official reports state they are presumed drowned. Years later, debate continues about their fate, but the immediate response is clear. The towers fire as designed. There is no pause to negotiate. The perimeter is defended with bullets. The lesson does not go unnoticed inside the prison. Inmates understand that reaching the water does not mean safety. It means exposure. Anyone in open space is visible from multiple angles. Guards do not fire randomly. They fire to stop movement. Rifles are aimed, not waved. Ammunition is real, and it is plentiful. The towers maintain constant readiness, even during routine hours. Another escape attempt follows in September 1938. 2 inmates break away during work detail. One is struck by rifle fire before reaching the water. He collapses on the rocks below the cellhouse. The second enters the bay and is later captured. The incident confirms what earlier gunfire already suggested. The towers do not exist to scare. They exist to end attempts immediately. 1 man dies within seconds of exposure. After these shootings, procedures tighten. Guard rotations increase. Tower staffing becomes more rigid. Ammunition counts are logged. Firing lanes are reviewed. The goal is not restraint. The goal is certainty. When an alarm sounds, the response must be fast enough to prevent any doubt about control. The most violent confrontation occurs in May 1946, during what becomes known as the Battle of Alcatraz. It begins not with chaos, but with planning. 3 inmates gain access to firearms from the cellhouse armory. The intent is escape. The reality becomes a siege. Guards are taken hostage. Shots are fired inside the prison. Alarms sound across the island. Towers immediately lock onto the yard and shoreline. No one leaves the island unnoticed. As the situation escalates, guards exchange gunfire with the inmates. The prisoners retreat into the cellhouse. Rifle fire from towers prevents movement toward the docks or water. Tear gas is deployed through the cellhouse vents. Explosions follow when grenades detonate. 2 guards die from injuries caused during the fighting. 2 of the inmates are killed by gunfire and gas. The third is captured and later executed. During the battle, the towers serve their intended role. They isolate the conflict. They prevent expansion. They deny escape routes. The prison does not rely on walls alone. It relies on armed containment. The violence is contained to the interior because every exterior route is covered by sight lines and weapons. The aftermath reinforces Alcatraz's reputation. Damage to the cell house is visible for years. Procedures are reviewed again. Access to weapons is further restricted. But the fundamental rule remains unchanged. Any threat to the perimeter is met with lethal force. The prison does not soften its posture. It confirms it. Guards stationed in towers follow strict engagement rules. They do not fire into cell blocks without authorization. They do not shoot through crowds without clear targets. But when an inmate crosses a boundary line, authorization is automatic. The boundary itself is the trigger. Signs make this clear. Verbal warnings are issued when possible, but they are not required. The expectation is compliance, not dialogue. Tower positions are chosen carefully. One covers the recreation yard. Another watches the dock and boat landing. Others track the waterline and industrial areas. Together, they create overlapping arcs. No single tower operates alone. If one guard fires, others already have the same target in view. This redundancy ensures that hesitation does not exist. If one shot misses, another does not. The weapons used are standard for the era. Bolt-action rifles dominate early years, later supplemented by semi-automatic firearms. Shotguns are used for closer ranges. Gas grenades are stored for internal suppression. Ammunition types are selected for stopping power, not warning. Training emphasizes accuracy and restraint, but the threshold for firing is low once an escape is confirmed. Inmates are aware of these facts. Stories circulate inside the cell house. Men know who was shot. They know where bodies fell. They know that reaching the yard fence is not a victory. It is the moment the towers engage. This knowledge shapes behavior. It reduces large-scale uprisings. It shifts resistance towards secrecy rather than confrontation. The myth of Alcatraz as a puzzle to be solved begins to crack under this reality. The prison is not escape-proof because it is clever. It is escape-proof because it is unforgiving. Intelligence matters less than exposure. Strength matters less than visibility. Once an inmate steps into open space, the outcome is decided by guards above, not by water below. Even routine moments reinforce this balance of power. Yard time occurs under constant watch. Work details move along predetermined paths. Counts are frequent. Movement is slow and controlled. The towers remain occupied regardless of weather. Fog does not reduce readiness. If anything, it heightens it. Reduced visibility increases tension, not leniency. Public perception outside the island lags behind internal reality. Newspapers focus on isolation and natural barriers. The bay becomes the villain. Cold water becomes the legend. What receives less attention is the policy that allows guards to fire without delay. The prison's success rate depends on that policy more than geography. When Alcatraz eventually closes in 1963, it is not because it becomes ineffective. It is because it becomes too expensive. The same harsh environment that deters escape also corrodes infrastructure. The same isolation that limits contact increases cost. The philosophy of armed containment, however, does not disappear. It migrates into other high-security institutions. The guard tower shootouts leave a clear record. When inmates challenge the perimeter, the response is immediate and final. There are no prolonged standoffs at the water's edge. There are no negotiated exits. Resistance ends when rifles come up. The island's reputation is built not on mystery, but on enforcement. Today, visitors walk the grounds of Alcatraz Island and hear stories of clever plans and hidden tunnels. What they do not hear as often is the sound of rifle shots echoing across the bay. They do not stand where guards once aimed down fixed lanes, waiting for movement. They do not feel the weight of authority that made hesitation unnecessary. The historical record remains clear. Armed confrontations at Alcatraz are rare, but decisive. Each one reinforces the same conclusion. The prison maintains control not through isolation alone, but through the willingness to use lethal force the moment control is challenged. That willingness defines the island more than any cell, wall, or current. If you think this story was intense, the next one will leave you speechless. Subscribe for more true crime stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat.